Cold Vengeance isn't necessarily a bad episode, but if you're looking for one to skip, or if you don't want to necessarily watch all of the X-Men the Animated Series, it's one that you can probably get around to later, or just watch the recap of on the next episode without feeling like you missed much. The story surrounds what happens to Wolverine after he leaves the X-Mansion on the previous episode. He's up in Canada on some soul-searching adventure. There he encounters some fishermen, and there's a subplot involving his interaction with the village that they're from, and he does eventually cross paths with Sabretooth. Meanwhile, Storm, Gambit, and Jubilee are sent to the fictional island nation of Genosha because Gambit heard that they treat mutants pretty well there. They're going undercover, but even though Storm and Jubilee dress down and arguably appear more like everyday humans, Gambit wears what he always wears, down to his metal boots. The results are what you might expect. It's rated on IMDb as 7.5. And again, if you're not looking to watch all the episodes, this is one that you're not going to regret catching later, when you can go, oh, so Wolverine went fishing. I would say that you could call it iconic. Slave Island is the 7th episode of X-Men the Animated Series. It introduces the explosive mutant power suppression collars that you sometimes see throughout the show, as well as Cable and Master Mold and Cameron Hodge. You also have other cameos like Sunfire, Mystique, North Star, and Aurora from Alpha Flight. Also introduces Blob. Basically, the episode follows Gambit, Jubilee, and Storm from being captives at the beginning, where they're in this work camp that Gyrich and Trask put together to try to build more Sentinels, using mutants to do it, to escaping. Storm does something that makes her look pretty dumb at the beginning, and ends up in pretty much the last place that someone with claustrophobia would want to. All in all, just sort of an important episode, I would say, because it shows the lengths Gyrich and friends are willing to go to accomplish what they want to accomplish. IMDb has it at 7.5, and I would definitely call it a must-watch. I'd say episode 8 of X-Men the Animated Series, The Unstoppable Juggernaut, is kind of a fun palate cleanser. The team comes back on the Blackbird jet after having rescued Gambit, Jubilee, and Storm from Genosha. The previous episode leaves off on a cliffhanger where they arrive and find that the X-Mansion has been demolished. So at the beginning, it's kind of like a mystery. They land the jet and then they're like checking everything out. And the Professor's nowhere to be seen, and Wolverine storms off. Cyclops then sends Jubilee, Storm, and Rogue to look for Wolverine. Jubilee finds Wolverine first, but then they find this guy named Colossus working construction. And first they think that he's the guy who wrecked the mansion because he's this huge dude and he's around, I guess. But, as you may have guessed from the title, he's not the dude, he's not the guy. Eventually he meets Rogue and Storm, and Rogue seems to really like Colossus. But, oh hey, that's right, Beast is in the show, everyone. Beast is still in the show. It's been a few episodes, I think since episode 2, but he's hanging around, literally, in this prison, in this jail, waiting for his day in court. The team crosses paths with Juggernaut, who is the guy who demolished the mansion. And they have a big throwdown with him. You get to catch glimpses into who the Juggernaut really is in this fight. Rogue tries to absorb his powers. Ultimately, Jean kind of dismantles him psychically and confuses him psychically, so he'll leave. A lot of good stuff in this episode. If you're binging the show, no reason to skip it at all. Colossus and Juggernaut are not lightweights in X-lore. IMDb has it at 7.6. I tried to watch it, but I probably wouldn't put it at the absolute most important episode in the series. I would call X-Men Episode 9, titled The Cure, a must-watch episode of X-Men the Animated Series. It has the first appearance and first speaking appearance of Apocalypse in the series, and the first official introduction to Mystique, complete with speaking role. It introduces Avalanche and Pyro, as well as Warren Worthington, aka Angel, aka Archangel. It gives you a window into Rogue's mind. It intersects with the Professor X story that's been building for a couple of episodes leading into this one. The story, as the title suggests, is about a cure for mutant powers and abilities, which of course would have the interest of someone like Rogue. His powers are arguably as much of a drawback as they are a benefit. A couple of cool Gambit and Rogue moments. It's got 7.6 on IMDb. Definitely check it out. So episode 10, Come the Apocalypse, basically acts as a way to tie up the loose ends from episode 9, The Cure, and simultaneously as a demonstration of the threat that Apocalypse is going to pose. Apocalypse is a very noteworthy and important character in X-Men the Animated Series and X-Men in general. If you're interested in Apocalypse and you want to soak up everything there is to know about the character, this is basically a must-watch. It also goes into the origin of Apocalypse's Horseman, and it is the source material for this meme. IMDb has it at a 7.9. I wouldn't consider it a top shelf episode, but it's far from the worst.